Alison Mead from Silicon Bullet here with another top bookkeeping tip. This one accounts for any accounts package, but I'm going to talk about Xero in particular. And I'm working with bookkeepers who have clients that do some of the bookkeeping themselves. They might raise the invoices and put some payments in, or upload some bills themselves, and then the bookkeeper comes in and does the bank reconciliation, checks everything correct. But this tip is also good for you if you just do your own bookkeeping. So when you're entering things into Xero, you can either do everything from the bank feed, and when you feed the bank in, you can see what's been paid, and if you're not uploading any bills or anything, you can just enter things from the bank feed. But the other thing that you can do is you can send your bills up to Xero using HubDoc, or use send to bills in Xero. You can enter in the transactions and then you can mark them as paid. But if you do that and you mark things as paid, ultimately in the bank feed you're going to have to match those payments that you've created to items that have gone through the bank, because ultimately if you have received money into your bank or you have paid money out from your bank, you are going to see that transaction in your bank feed. And even if you've uploaded it in some other way, you're going to do the find and match the item there. Now, the issue that my client was having was that they have matched everything in their bank account and it's all correct. The check that the bank balance in Xero matches the bank balance on their bank statement, and it's all tickety-boo. And yet when they go in and check the bank, there's some extra transactions that the client has put in that are showing in their transaction list as unreconciled. So that basically means that somebody has put something in Xero. They have said that they have paid a bill, in this case it was expenses, and they have said that it's come out of the bank account, but then when you look at the actual bank account, they haven't actually paid that money out. They've sorted it out some other way. They've made a mistake. They might have put something in twice. They might have paid somebody in cash, not by the bank account, and they might have done some kind of weird contra entry that in the end means that there was no actual money owing. So there is a mistake there. And I come across this a lot with one of my clients. They put their own sales invoices in. They mark when somebody has paid them, but sometimes somebody has paid them by cash and they accidentally mark it as that it's been put in the bank account, or somebody might have paid as a credit card and it's all been reconciled through the credit card account, and yet they have thought that it's come directly out of the bank account. So my top tip when you're dealing with these things is, ultimately in the end, there is no point leaving entries sitting on your bank account that are not there, that have not gone through the bank. You are far better to remove and redo these entries so that your bank account is correct, but make a note of the entry that there was and go back to the client, or if it's your own bookkeeping, go back to your own records and try and see what really happened. Unfortunately, when an invoice has been marked as paid to the wrong bank account, there's no way of editing that transaction and moving it over to the correct bank account. You could leave that transaction on the wrong bank account and then do a bank transfer over to the correct one, but I find that overcomplicates matters. Then you would need to manually reconcile the transactions. It all gets a little bit complicated. You're much better to just remove the entry and go and investigate it in some other way. So with my other client this month, there were 3 invoices that have been marked as paid. One of them was a duplicate, so that was fine. I removed the duplication and that balance was still owing later on. One of them had actually been paid by cash, so that's fine. I remove and redo the payment on the invoice, and then I re-put one in, but made sure I chose the cash account. But what do you do if the client's insisting that it's been paid, but you have no evidence of how it's been paid and it doesn't match up to anything? So this is where I would use something called the suspense account. So the suspense account, because all bookkeeping is double entries, double entry bookkeeping, that's what it's called. But if you've only ever used a package, you might not know what that means. What it means is there's always two sides to every transaction, an in and an out, a debit and a credit. So if you know that something has been paid and you want to make sure that you're not paying it again or chasing that debt, you want to make sure that that invoice or bill is marked as paid. But if you have no clue which bank account the other side of that transaction should be, then rather than leave that bill or invoice as unpaid, what you could do is mark it as paid to the suspense account. When you can then, maybe in the fullness of time, find out which bank account it's actually been paid through, you could undo that transaction and put it through to the right bank account. If you never find out where that should be, well, that amount in the suspense account will just have to be written off at the year end. It might be offset against a cash account, it might be offset against director's loan or drawings, and you know, if that invoice was real and you've had that money in it, it has to be somewhere, but you can't trace it. And especially if you're talking about small numbers, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 quid, then there's not a lot you can do, but there's pointless. Taking the time to find out what happened to it is really not worth the time. So what you actually need to do is mark it as paid, but put it somewhere in your profit and loss account, and it won't make a huge difference to your figures at the end of the year. Now in Xero, when you go and look in your account transaction list at the suspense account, you just need to make sure that in the settings you need to tick the little box that says allow payments to this account. That will then allow you that when you're on a bill or an invoice, you'll be able to pick the suspense account just as if it's a bank account and mark a payment to it. Some businesses just put things like that through, just offset against director's loan accounts. Some people would just put them through as if it was been paid or refunded by the cash account. There's options there. But the two things that I don't recommend is leaving a receipt or payment on your main bank account that doesn't match with anything on your bank statement. And I also don't recommend leaving a sales invoice or a purchase bill sitting in your ledgers that you definitely know you have paid. Put it somewhere else and then make a note to deal with it later, or put it to suspense and it will get written off at the year end. So this all sounds a little bit confusing and a little bit beyond your skills, then I do hand-holding sessions. And if you've got a list of these queries that you want to go through, then we could jump on Microsoft Teams together, you can share your accounts with me, and we can go through and run through some examples together. I can video that session, send that to you, and then you have got a method to follow in order to be independent and do it for yourself in the future. It's all about having the confidence to change, delete, move things, and understanding how that's going to affect the accounts, and just knowing that there's no point leaving transactions on there that you know just didn't happen. So you can contact me, you can find me YouTube, Silicon Bullet, message me through that. You can find Alison Mead on LinkedIn. You can go to siliconbullet.com, you can see my blog, see more hints and tips and all of that kind of thing. I'm here walking my dog in the beautiful South Sea Forest in Northamptonshire, and there she is, there's Daisy, just having a little stroll. So that's my new top tip, and if you're getting a bit stuck, I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye.